Alrighty guys, we're back for Max Speed Viper, and this is an Aetherdrift standard brew, and I'm Red Cat. Let's briefly go over the deck, then hop right into some ranked. I know it's not a new card, but we gotta go over Rottenmouth Viper first, because this is the main build around. It's a 6 mana 6/6. As an additional cost to cast this spell, you may sacrifice any number of non-land permanents. The spell costs 1 less to cast for each permanent sacrificed this way. When this creature enters or attacks, put a blight counter on it. Then for each blight counter on it, each opponent loses 4 life unless that player sacrifices a non-land permanent of their choice or discards a card. So you know it's actually really sick when you give Rottenmouth Viper haste. So you get that a second blight counter and that second trigger off of this ability. It's actually pretty disgusting. Well, how are we going to give it haste in mono black? We're going to try out Amonkhet Raceway. It's in here as a 4 of, guys. It's just a land, it taps for a colorless, but it has start your engines. So if you have no speed, it starts at 1. It increases once on each of your turns. When an opponent loses life, max speed is 4. And for Amonkhet Raceway, when you have max speed, you can tap it. Target creature gains haste until end of turn. Cool stuff, man. I'm interested to see. Well, I guess one of the goals today is to actually have the Amonkhet Raceway give haste to the Rottenmouth Viper. That's one of the goals. Hopefully we can actually achieve that. While we're talking about the mana, guys, we got 22 total lands. I think that's going to be fine and dandy for this build because we're not actually trying to cast out a Viper for all 6 mana, you know? So what else do we got in here that has start your engines and max speed? Well, we have Gas Guzzler as a 4 of. It's a 1 mana 2/1. It enters tapped, unfortunately. It does have start your engines and max speed. Pay 1 black mana, sacrifice another creature or vehicle, draw a card. Okay, not half bad, right? We also have Momentum Breaker here. It's a 2 mana enchantment with start your engines. When this enchantment enters, each opponent sacrifices a creature or vehicle of their choice. Each opponent who can't discards a card. Okay. And then for 2 mana, you can sacrifice this enchantment. You gain life equal to your speed. Not half bad, right? Cool stuff. And actually, all of our removal packed in is going to be a permanent of some kind that maybe we can sacrifice to get the Rottenmouth Viper down a little cheaper. So like Nowhere to Run making the cut as a 2 of. Also got another new one here, Grim Bauble as a 2 of. So this is a 1 mana artifact. When this artifact enters, target creature an opponent controls gets -2/-2 until end of turn. Not bad. And then also on here, for 2 and a black, you can tap it, sacrifice this artifact. Surveil 2, which honestly might really come in handy. And you know it would be pretty cool to actually surveil into the grave? Bloodghast, making the cut as a 4 of. Yes, I am concerned that Amonkhet Raceway is not going to help us cast the Bloodghast. But still, all 4 of them packed in. I really want to see it today. Hopefully the Raceway doesn't hold us up too often, right? So Bloodghast is a 2 mana 2/1 with double black in the casting cost. It's a vampire spirit, which is kind of neat. This creature can't block. Darn it. That's okay, though. It has a lot of other cool stuff. This creature has haste as long as an opponent has 10 or less life. Okay, that's when you really want your creatures to have haste, huh? And then a landfall. When a land you control enters, you may return this card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Cool. So, one of the things I actually considered for the deck list is actually in the honorable mentions over here, Liliana, because Bloodghast would be a perfect one to go ahead and discard to the Liliana and then just bring it back when you play your next land. Actually seems kind of gross, right? Other than that, once we actually have Bloodghast on the board, it's going to be a great card to go ahead and sacrifice, maybe to the Gas Guzzler ability or maybe to Braids or something. We got a couple Braids packed in. Not going to take the time to read it right now, though. Same thing with Hopeless Nightmare. All 4 of them packed in. We do see this enough. I'm not actually going to read it. I will say that it's going to be a great way to go ahead and increase our speed without actually swinging into the opponent, so it's kind of neat. We have 4 Spiteful Hexmage, 2 permanents for the price of 1. That's what Rottenmouth Viper likes to see. We also have all 4 Gingerbrutes too. So with Gingerbrute being colorless, it is possible to have a turn 1 Amonkhet Raceway, a turn 1 Gingerbrute, and swing, and so turn 1 speed 2. It's actually really neat, right? Is that everything already, guys? Okay. Honorable mentions. Talked a little bit about that Liliana. Almost made the cut. Gastel Raider here almost made the cut too. Actually, a really interesting ability. If it was in here, maybe it could help us take a Sunfall or something out of the opponent's hand. Kind of neat. And the Witch's Vanity also almost made the cut over the Nowhere to Run. I just think Nowhere to Run is going to be a little bit better right now when I'm seeing so much Sheltered by Ghosts. So yeah, Witch's Vanity though, something to think about. Okay, guys, I do my dandiest to save the more in-depth discussion for the end of the video, so look forward to that. In the meantime, let's go ahead and take this into some ranked, see how we do. All right, we'll see if we can get right into that first game. In the meantime, what am I expecting from the build? I think it's going to be decent, bro. It's one of those things that, like, you're going max speed, why not just go Rakdos? That's a good question, man. Usually at the beginning of sets and stuff, I like to keep things simple. For example, there's a Selesnya deck list that I have ready that totally could be Naya, but I want to just keep it simple, keep it at Selesnya. And it's kind of a similar concept here. Starting with Mono Black, at some point we'll try out Rakdos max speed too. Opponent goes first. I don't see anything wrong with this hand, right? I'm keeping this. It took me a second, but yeah, I don't see anything wrong with it. I think we'll start out with Spiteful Hexmage. No. Gingerbrute, because if we see another 1-drop, we could go turn 2 Hexmage, put the Cursed Roll on the Gingerbrute. But if we don't see another 1-drop, a Momentum Breaker might still come down. And even if the opponent doesn't have a creature to sacrifice, we still get a discard. Well, they have a creature to sacrifice, but... Well, they have 2 creatures to sacrifice, but... right, we should do something. That much I know. They sacrifice Haywire Might, so that way they have a good block for the Gingerbrute, and we won't be able to get our speed up to 2 this turn anyways, so we might wait on the Momentum Breaker, maybe even keep the Nowhere to Run open, or just establish the Vengeful Bloodwitch is probably fine. Just curve out into the Braids next turn if we don't remove anything. I suppose. A much better turn, if the opponent only had 1 creature, would have been Momentum Breaker, get that speed to 2, right? I think so. But with 2 creatures, it's a different ballgame. Duskrow's Reliquary. So Bant artifacts, probably, right? Another Momentum Breaker. That's actually not half bad, is it? I don't mind seeing all this excess removal. Probably going to need it against artifacts. I think we do it now too. They got 2 open though. It could be some open removal for the Gingerbrute when it comes time. Okay, Haywire Might. They do gain 2 life here. I'll wait for the Spiteful Hexmage, I suppose. No. Well, yeah, I'll wait. It's like an Elspeth Smite. I suppose I'd still prefer having extra permanents on the board over like a 3-2. Excuse me, guys. Okay, it wasn't anything fancy. Let's go ahead and get that Spiteful Hexmage down. We'll put the Cursed Roll on the Gingerbrute. Alright, so far so good, I guess. But we really... Ooh. That's a chunky creature. Momentum Breaker, though. Just sacrifice it, right? However, 2 cards back to their hand. Duskrow's Reliquary. Basilisk Collar. Okay. Holy cow. Right. I mean, there's no question, right? We gotta make sure we pop that Gear Hulk. Really like the opponent's deck list, first of all. Could also go like Nowhere to Run, Grim Bauble, extra permanents on the board, but that doesn't seem that great, does it? Just like Momentum Breaker. I saved the Grim Bauble for something else another time, right? Alright, almost at max speed. Alright, I guess we pass it back. I'd love to get this Braids on the board. Okay, Thousand Moon Smithy. Okay. That's going to be a 3/3 right now, right? So nowhere to run. No, it's a 4/4. 1, 2. Oh, I wasn't counting itself. Oh, dear. I guess they want to pick up the Hexmage, right? Yeah, they do. Do we still focus removal next turn? Because we could double down on Nowhere to Run and Grim Bauble. We could still get Gingerbrute through with its ability as well. Get up to max speed. Really don't want them to have a 4/4. Or a 5/5. Or a 6/6, right? I guess it could keep going up if they play a couple more. But Braids, though. I'd love to get Braids on the board. We could play Braids, activate Gingerbrute ability, swing in, have max speed. Hop the Cursed Roll to the Braids ability. I guess at that point, doubling down on the 4/4 doesn't seem that great, does it? It really doesn't. I'm going to wait, and I hope that's okay, guys. I hope that's fine. I might end up regretting that, but we'll see, won't we? Max speed. All right, let's get rid of the Cursed. I was double checking to make sure they didn't have any enchantments, but yeah, it's going to be some pretty good card draw because we can sacrifice the Momentum Breakers. Those are enchantments too. Something that the opponent doesn't have. Airless Snare. Pick up the Braids. It's a 5/5. Oh, guys. You know what? You know what? Basilisk Collar giving lifelink to this giant chunky creature is really bad news. So I probably... Oh no. It's mana. That's not good. We only got 22 mana in here. I probably should have picked this up, right? Because now that it's a 6/6, we don't have a way to pick it up. They give it lifelink next turn, we're in danger. Can still play Grim Bauble, go for the Surveil. Uh-oh, guys. Uh-oh, mistakes were made. I should have doubled down on the removal, but boy, I wanted the Braids on the board. The opponent has nothing left in hand. My apologies, opponent. I am thinking, buddy. Because here's the thing, right? So Grim Bauble doesn't have flash. It's not fancy like Nowhere to Run. So we can't do anything crazy like block with Gingerbrute and then flash both of those in. Although that would be cool if Grim Bauble had flash. If we waited, they're not going to wait. They're going to be swinging every turn here, right? So I think we're in danger because they're going to gain so much life. I'm going to play Grim Bauble for funsies for the Surveil because we got to get rid of all the excess land on top. Outside of that, we'll also keep Nowhere to Run open in case they find a creature. Thousand Moon Smithy. Oh, they also can transform this, huh? Dude, we're in so much trouble. Okay, they find Surveil land off the top. Well, that's good at least, right? So here comes Basilisk Collar. This is my fault, guys. I did this. I could have doubled down on removal. Oh, no. This is bad news. Okay. Nowhere to Run. Of course, we can prevent some of the life gain, prevent some of the damage. It's not worth it. Gonna go for that Surveil right here, right now. Oh, Braids, Rottenmouth. Okay, those are cards. We can just cast the Rottenmouth, which is something else. Actually, I like both of those, but we have to figure out how to deal with this. If they find artifacts, I guess I'll send the Braids. That's extra card draw when it comes time, though. No, I like them both, but Rottenmouth first, right? I think so. This is silly. This is silly. Hopefully I'm playing it out well enough here, guys. Okay. Back to us. Let's get that Rottenmouth down. We'll just play it for 6 mana, right? I don't see a great reason to sacrifice the things that we could sacrifice to Braids when it comes time. What's too bad, though, is if we had Amonkhet Raceway, yeah, we totally would pay the extra and get that swing on the Rottenmouth. Totally. With Death Touch on this too, guys, it's not worth, like, getting it to where we have 2 mana open for Nowhere to Run. If it didn't have Death Touch, that would be something to consider, for sure. see what they end up doing here. Probably just take the 4 because they're gaining 6 from the lifelink. Actually, dude, Basilisk Collar, what a really cool addition to some Bant artifacts, huh? I don't plan on chumping, although maybe we should plan on chumping, because I don't necessarily want to trade into the Rottenmouth. So we'll plan on chumping, because I guess technically they could get that up to 8 power. Transpider, that'll do it. That's 9 power now. Uh-oh. So I will chump, and we're just super dead. I can't believe this came down to me not doubling down on the Gnome Soldier, guys. Who would have thought, huh? We do have some life gain, but I mean, what are we going to do about this? You know what I mean? They're back up to 23. They have a really good block. I guess nowhere to run is a start. We might as well swing, guys. Unfortunately, if this was just an 8-8, then nowhere to run would have been perfect. But with Transpider coming in with the Power Stone too, it didn't really matter, did it? Haha! Nowhere to run. I take care of one gnome. Yeah. Yeah, we can't even hit like Transpider with the nowhere to run, so. All right, let's get the Braids down. And we will sacrifice... We still have the Momentum Breaker life gain, huh? Sacrifice the nowhere to run, I would say. Get some card draw here. Oh, Gas Guzzler. Okay. Okay. Yes, I mean, we had max speed pretty fast, but we didn't have anything to really do with it other than gain 4 off the Momentum Breaker, right? Voyage home. Dude, opponent's deck list scares me. I'm terrified of this. Another Transpider. Holy cow. Now, the real question is, how many Basilisks, wow, that's hard to say right now. Basilisk Collar, plural. How many of those do you guys think are packed into this list? A 1 of? A 2 of? I'd say a 2 of would totally be worth it with how aggressive things are right now, right? I think so. So, unfortunately, this is a 13-13. It got a little out of hand. It got a little bit chunkier than the 5-5 that it was earlier, huh? So unfortunately, we have to block with the Braids to survive the turn. Just to see more off the top, too. It's mana. No. We don't have any creatures to sacrifice to the Gas Guzzler either. Also, it comes in tapped. I'll activate the Momentum Breaker now. Drop the good game in return. It was a good game, opponent. I don't know. Like I said, it came down to me not popping the 5-5, and it really feels that way, right? But realistically, would they have still found a way? I don't know. It's tough. It's tough to say. If I would have gotten rid of the one creature that their Basilisk Collar was going to be attached to, I mean, we did eventually find the Rottenmouth. The question is, how much damage did I actually get through then? Yeah, I don't know. I apologize, guys. I can't tell if that came down to me or what that was, but I think it was a pretty cool game, and the opponent bringing something really cool to the table too, that as of right now, we're not seeing too much of it, but I would not be surprised at all if Bant Artifacts starts appearing more often, you know what I mean? Opponent, what you bringing to the table, buddy? Okay. I like it. We'll start with the Hopeless Nightmare, no worries. Well, yeah. Then right into Bloodghast, I suppose. I was thinking like, oh, we could wait on the Hopeless Nightmare until after we start our engines, but that doesn't seem worth it right now, right? Especially since there's nothing in hand that care about us having the max engines either. Like, again, no Amonkhet Raceway or anything. Okay, we could establish... Well... Alright, yeah, Bloodghast. Because if it's a cut down, then it is not a cut down, in fact. I was going to say, if it is, then we play a Swamp next turn, it comes back right away. Anoint with Affliction. Bro, that couldn't have been any worse, huh? Ooh, Braids. Hi. I like that. Yeah. Right away, get rid of that Hopeless Nightmare. We get the draw, Scry 2. Rottenmouth Viper. Hi there, buddy. I also like the Gingerbrute too, but I think we send it because we're... Is that correct? No? We start with Gingerbrute? We start with Gingerbrute. We draw a Viper after the fact. We don't have enough mana for the Viper, and I don't want to sacrifice Braids. So we want some of our cards to stick onto the board. And something like Vengeful Bloodwitch is going to have a huge target on its back anyways. Uh-oh, guys. Did the opponent miss mana? Uh-oh, opponent. Alright, before we swing with Braids, we're going to play Vengeful Bloodwitch. Nothing stuck. I'm going to save the removal, then we're going to go right into the Gingerbrute. Okay. Swing for 4. Oh no. Oh no, opponent. This isn't how I like to win, opponent. Do we sacrifice a land? 1, 2, 3. No. I'll just decline for the turn because I don't want to lose the Gingerbrute that I just played either because I think I'm going to sacrifice it to you. Yeah, GG, opponent. That kind of sucks, guys, but I mean, I'll take the victory, dude. They're so hard to come by sometimes. Holy cow, you know? And I guess we showcased some form of the deck list, like kind of curving out appropriately. One thing that we know for certain from past builds and everything is Hopeless Nightmare with Braids has always just been really good, you know? Turn 1 Hopeless Nightmare. It's not like the opponent's going to waste removal on that. They're not going to drop Get Lost on your Hopeless Nightmare or something, right? Turn 2, that's where they drop the removal. And then your turn 3 looking at Braids, sacrifice the Hopeless Nightmare. Like, that's always been really good. We got to do that there quite nicely. And then, hey, Amonkhet Raceway. All right. Ooh, Gingerbrute. Oh, no. Opponent goes first, though. How dare the game take away my excitement. All right, opponent, just don't play a creature turn 1 then, right? Let's get that max speed early here. Ah, it's a good trade for us, though. We should try it. We should try it. Let's do it. It's a good trade because Optimistic Scavenger obviously grows way above the 1/1. The opponent knows this and they let it go through. So there you go. Turn 1, 2 speed. Spiteful Hexmage. Okay, we should focus removal on turn 2 here. Oh, they still got more, though. Scavenger growing above the Grim Bauble, and we don't have one of our other pieces of removal right now. Bloodghast is the discard for sure. Oh, there we go. Nowhere to run. Can hit the Scavenger. That's pretty good. Yeah, we take that action, first of all. Wow. And then... Right, we could get our speed to 3 if we go Grim Bauble into the Hexmage, but then we don't have anything else for the turn anyways. Scavenger has to die, dude, and we do it now. Before they have anything fancy, right? And then we just say no attacks. And that's fine. A totally fine turn. Definitely need to see some swamps off the top, though. Other words, we only playing like one drop every single turn could be pretty bad news. So Esper Pixie is my guess. I don't know how often we see Optimistic Scavenger and Esper Pixie. I'm not 100% certain right now. So Gingerbrute's pretty good because we can still do multiple things this turn, which is pretty important when we want a cheap Rottenmouth. Grim Bauble should probably pick up the Hexmage before they do anything fancy with it. Let's start with that, right? Because they still got 2 over here. Okay, whatever's sticking, if it was a counterspell, they'd prefer us to get the Grim Bauble on the board. This town ain't big enough. Okay. then the Bloodghast back to hand makes a lot of sense because we don't have double black on the board anyways. And they save their Hexmage. But Gingerbrute number 2 comes down, and we could have a 2-mana Viper. The problem with that is, of course, this town ain't big enough. They got at least 24 this town ain't big enough's packed into their list, right? So, no, seriously, we have to anticipate the second one. If we sacrifice 4 permanents, get Rottenmouth down, only to have it get passed back to our hand, that would be brutal. So, we should figure something out first. Number 1, more mana. That would be good. There we go, there we go. Oh, buddy, hi. Hi there. All right. We don't have max speed unless we play Hopeless Nightmare. And at that point, do we go for it? We go for it, dude. We do. This is so incredibly risky. Let's do this, man. Let's do this. All right. Here it comes. Here it comes, guys. Max speed. Rottenmouth Viper for 1. Let's see. Scry, another Viper is not great, and neither is Bloodghast. Right? I don't like either of those right now. I don't think so. Okay. Okay, what's their decision here? They're gonna sacrifice the cursed roll, unfortunately. Rottenmouth Viper, get haste, swing on in. Yes, it's so cool, man. We did it, guys. We did it. That was one of the goals for the day. Down to 5. Holy cow, dude. Come on, come on. Optimistic Scavenger. Go for the throat. It was all too easy, huh? Now we have to figure out how to get that last 5 through, which honestly shouldn't be too bad here, right? Bloodghast already has haste. Let's start with the swing, see if they trade. They probably just take the 2. We don't start with the swing and play the swamp. Getting the Bloodwitch down first makes more sense to me, though. And I hope that's okay, right? So Bloodwitch, then Bloodghast, then swing. And they might trade, but that's their last card, dude. They do trade, so now any mana off the top becomes pretty decent, I suppose. So something to think about was Bloodghast first before Bloodwitch. Okay, Spiteful Hexmage, they do find something off the top here. It is now a top deck war, unfortunately. They're double checking their Restless Anchorage. All right, mana, that's what you like to see, huh? Get that Bloodghast back. Take action. Do we full swing this time? Yes. We full swing this time. Right? I guess the trade into the Bloodwitch. Still lose 1 anyways, then another 2 from the Bloodghast. They do go trade into the Bloodwitch. I'm scared, guys. I'm scared. I'm scared that we're not going to be able to squeeze that last little bit through. There's a lot in here that can help us get there, though. Especially now that we have 5 mana on the board. Amonkhet Raceway, given any of our creatures that we see haste to. The big thing is, if they don't see anything off the top, they can keep Restless Anchorage open as a blocker. So we desperately need to see something off the top. Mana's not going to do it, though. We save mana to bring Bloodghast back if they find removal. Probably means we don't swing. We want them to waste removal on the Bloodghast, but they have the blocker regardless, so what does it really matter then? I think we save Swamp. No swing. That's rough. That's rough seeing mana, dude, but we'll see. We'll see, man. We still have all 3 of our hopeless... Well, we have 3 more Hopeless Nightmares, too. Okay, they get a blocker on the ground, but now they don't have Restless Anchorage open, so at least it's a trade. A top deck war, huh? Woo, Rottenmouth Viper. Hi there, little buddy. Hello. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, dude. So I guess we could go Rottenmouth for 5 and not give it haste this time round, right? And then Swamp, bring Bloodghast back. Or Swamp, sacrifice Bloodghast, give it haste. But if that's removal in hand, nah, that's fine. Let's do it. Let's do it. Sacrifice 1. Unfortunately, they like seeing the Hexmage means they have sacrifices for days, man. Oh, it was spot removal. Oh crap, dude. Well, I mean, might as well give it haste. Oh no. Oh no, opponent's in this, dude. Opponent's in this. This is what I mean by victories are hard to come by. Holy cow. Okay, it's just mana. They do power up the Restless Anchorage this time. Okay, they want to keep Spiteful Hexmage as a emergency blocker. Nowhere to run. I mean, at least it's something. That'll help us clean up the Restless Anchorage next time. Yeah, at least it's not another land. Alright, that's good news. This is good news, man. They do go for the Fool. Okay. I got concerned for the opponent. Oh! Why did I give them the map token, dude? Oh no, guys. Well, let's hope it doesn't come down to an extra map token. Ah, come on, guys. We could get this one through. Come on. All right, first map token is land for the opponent, which isn't terrible probably, right? Okay, Gas Guzzler. Okay, well, it comes in tapped, so the extra haste off the Raceway doesn't do anything anyways, but it's something. And we already have the max speed, so once we start seeing other creatures, maybe we can start drawing as well, but again, at least it's not more mana. Yeah, unfortunately, I think the opponent can pull this back, and I'm concerned about it. All right, they used their free map token that I accidentally let them have. Storm Chaser's talent off the top is terrible news for us. Come on, guys. Momentum Breaker. Okay, that's something. Yeah, that's something. Can we get that 2 through on the Gas Guzzler then? Let's go for it. We do. Okay, holy cow, bro. Woo. Oh my goodness. Thank goodness, man. Thank goodness. Rough stuff, bro. I thought the second snake was going to be it, but they had that go for the throat ready. So it would have been better to just play the 6 mana snake and swing with Bloodghast then, since they did have their last card was the go for the throat. Guys, we're 33 minutes in. I say we push it. We go one more. The deck list is pretty cool so far. I'm seeing a lot of synergies. I'm seeing some anti-synergies too that I want to go over at the end that's kind of important as well. I guess stay tuned for the discussion at the end, right? Oh, also guys, while I have you here towards the end of the video, make sure you actually check out that description where we do have that Discord link, as well as that Patreon link too. If you're interested in joining either of those up or supporting the channel that way. Let me go ahead. We go first. Good hand. We keep this. All the hands have been decent, right? Let's start our engines. Cool. But also, guys, hey, for the YouTube side of things, if you actually liked the video, then consider dropping it a like. Cut down from my Gas Guzzler. You monster opponent. All right into the Bloodghast, right? I think so. All right, anyways, guys, and also if you like the channel or if you enjoy the channel, then consider subscribing because it really does help out the channel. So thank you, guys. Man, Anoint with Affliction, exiling Bloodghast again today? That's rough, dude. All right, let's go. Gingerbrute's not bad, huh? We could get the speed going, but I think it's a little bit better to just go like that, right? Get a 3/2, and then the Bloodwitch is a 1/1 anyways. Duress. Oh no, my nowhere to run. Dude, the opponent isn't missing right now, huh? These are landing really well for them. Sheoldred's Edict. Wow. Hexmage? Overall, Bloodwitch does a little bit more over time, I think. Especially since the Cursed Roll's also there, because extra permanents on the board means something. If we end up seeing Rottenmouth off the top. And also, another Hexmage isn't bad, huh? Not bad at all. Alright. Speed at 2. So 3 pieces of spot removal and a well-placed duress from the opponent so far. No creatures. This is not an unheard of game at all. Come on, Rottenmouth. Come on, Rottenmouth Viper. When it's down to 15. Amonkhet Raceway is not bad. That gets us set up and our speed is almost at max. So, yeah, that's not bad at all, dude. Opponent down to 10, and we have to anticipate a demon next turn, so... best thing to get rid of a 4-drop demon is going to be our sacrifice card, our new one. Oh, Sheoldred, that is equally as terrifying, huh? They're going to stick around 10 here. See what we see. Oh, Rottenmouth Viper, holy cow. Holy cow, guys. Right, so... Sorry, I was thinking there. So... How do I want to do this? If we sacrifice at least one of these creatures, we want to keep Gingerbrute to get under their blockers. Bloodwitch gets us to 4, then haste to the Rottenmouth. So we need 3 mana Rottenmouth. So sacrifice 3 things. Cursed Roll, and Hexmage probably. Again, yeah, keeping the Gingerbrute to help us get under. 2, 3. Sacrifice 3. Oh, do not tap that Amonkhet Raceway. There we go. Max speed. Rottenmouth Viper. This is freaking sick, dude. What a top deck. All 4 Vipers for a very good reason, huh? A main build around for a very good reason. Yeah, Gingerbrute not being able to swing this turn, that's fine. Max speed on the Viper. Actually, they're gonna block the Viper because of the Death Touch. So we can get 2 through with the Gingerbrute and the Bloodwitch. So 2 more activations on the Rottenmouth Viper and a trade into the Sheoldred. Unholy Annex potentially doing 2 damage. I think if it was a demon, they would have went demon over Sheoldred, right? This is just a lot of value. Yeah, the trade into Sheoldred, it has to be. If they let us keep this Rottenmouth for a swing next turn. Well, they wouldn't. Okay, no, I guess I'm not 100% certain what the opponent wants to do because we don't know what's in their hand. It could be some more spot removal, which we should not be surprised about if it is. We know one thing. We know Anoint with Affliction doesn't hit Rottenmouth Viper, so that's good at least. So they go for the discard. Okay, they go down to 6. They did trade with Sheoldred. They get rid of the Unholy Annex, which probably means no demon. Soulstone, Preacher of the Schism. Now we got to rely on Gingerbrute getting under their blockers. Excuse me, guys. Nowhere to run. Isn't bad, but it isn't terrific either right now. Let's get underneath with Gingerbrute. Just 6 more turns, guys. We got this. We got this. Oh, man. It's too bad. It's too bad Sheoldred had to have Death Touch, huh? That was such a cool turn. And also totally worth it, right? Anoint with Affliction. Oh, man. That's pretty rough. Okay, that was their last card. Preacher of the Schism is going to be a big problem, though. So the extra lifelink vampires, how are we going to find this last 5 through, guys? Soulstone, okay. That's kind of good news for us, right? So I suppose it's Soulstone, even though we really don't want them to gain life here. We got to figure out how to get this last little bit through. We're down to 19. You'd think it would be leaning towards us, but I don't know, bro. It's especially not leaning towards us if we see a lot more mana, which we should totally play, right? Oh. Activate Gingerbrute's ability. Get the swing. And they're going to gain that back with the lifelink vampire, so we're in danger, dude, but wow. We put up a fight, man. We put up a heck of a fight, and I think technically we could still get there, but I don't know what we'd have to see outside of another Viper or something. Another Bloodwitch is not bad. Could give it haste if we want to swing with it. I don't know where the trade would be into their other vampire. It would be the Bloodwitch, because that would be one getting through. So I guess if we save the Bloodwitch back, they get to keep their lifelink vampires anyways. So if we're in danger either way, I'd say saving the Bloodwitch might be a little bit better, just in case. Uh-oh. Did they find more spot removal off the top, guys? Again, something that we shouldn't be surprised by if it is, but... Okay, they save it. Dude, I'm on the edge of my seat right now. Anoint with affliction. No, my Bloodwitch. Why? Opponent. No. That's rough, dude. It's too bad it's an exile too, but we get to see the value of that exile, which is crazy. Now, Preacher of the Schism just gonna really start running away with this, which is why it's heavily leaning towards the opponent. Still no planned blocks with the Gingerbrute, guys. We're just going to keep swinging. I'd say like a block earlier into their initial 1-1 maybe could have been worth it, but I don't think so. I think keeping Gingerbrute around is a little bit more worth it. Sheoldred, they're definitely top decking much better than us right now, too. Oh dear, going back up to 8. Down to 7 for us. Come on. Braids. This would have been the draw to see a few turns earlier, huh? Might make the argument for 3 Braids making the cut. Unfortunately, now that Sheoldred's on the board, giving Braids haste isn't even that great either, so we're just super duper dead. But we could see a good card off of the Braids draw. It's at the end of our turn, though, so probably not. I'll save Gingerbrute as the chump blocker for the Sheoldred. I don't think we end up surviving here, unfortunately, but yeah, we'll sacrifice Nowhere to Run. They don't have an enchantment, so we guarantee the draw, and that's 2. Oh, we lose 2 from we get punished from Sheoldred too, that's right. Darn it. And it's mana anyways, too, so brutal stuff, huh? I'd say anyone's game easily. The Preacher of the Schism running away with it. Wow. They got all 4 Anoint with Afflictions in there, guys. That's really something. I wonder what their other pieces of spot removal was then. So we know they had all 4 Anoint with Afflictions. Oh, there's their 3rd Sheoldred's Edict. We only saw 1 cut down this whole time too. Well, if they're making us sacrifice the Gingerbrute anyways, we might as well activate the Gingerbrute ability. And we'll drop them the good game, even though that deck list is brutal, man. That's 3 too many Anoint with Afflictions and 2 too many Sheoldred's Edicts to see, you know what I'm saying? That Rottenmouth Viper play was so freaking cool that it's really hard to even be upset about the defeat, though. Like, the fact that we still got to pull that off, and we pulled off, like, a significant amount of value all in that turn. Making them sacrifice the Unholy Annex is actually crazy, dude. We hit that Soulstone Sanctuary too. That was a good game. If they missed the Preacher of the Schism, would that have been ours? Probably. I think so. The Preacher of the Schism, although if they missed the Preacher, they could have seen some other form of life gain too. Like if they've seen that Shieldred turn early or something as well, then I think that also would have started leaning towards them pretty heavily. A Duskmourn pack? That's not a new set game. Come on, man. We need new cards. Although that did get me a rare wild card, so I guess I'm relatively happy about that. All right, guys. Max Speed Viper. This is neat, dude. I like this. That was my second Leyline of the Void, by the way. Yeah. Neat. All right. Well, here's the deck list again. So, Gas Guzzler coming out tapped. Actually, a little bit of anti-synergy with the Amonkhet Raceway because we can't give it haste because it comes out tapped, obviously, right? So we won't be able to swing with it anyways. That being said, that very small amount of anti-synergy, it doesn't really matter when what really matters is we want a way to start our engines. And we want to benefit off of these max speed abilities as soon as possible, mainly the Raceway, right? We want to be able to give haste to our Rottenmouth Viper or our other creatures too. It's actually a really neat concept where we're going like mono black aggro and we have a lot of ways to give haste to our creatures. Amonkhet Raceway or Bloodghast, once the opponent has 10 or less life, it also has haste. So just a really neat concept to give mono black hasty things, right? Oh, Gingerbrute also has haste, right? So it's neat. I like it a lot. Momentum Breaker. This also would have really come in handy in that last game, right? When they only had Shieldred on the board. We probably would have waited a turn for the Rottenmouth, popped the Shieldred. There's a chance that we swing in with Rottenmouth and it would have survived maybe. No, not really, because they had, well, we didn't know they had it at the time, but they had Preacher of the Schism, which also has Death Touch. So this still would have been pretty good though, I think. And I think maybe that would have set us a turn back on the Viper, and we would have opted for Momentum Breaker first, right? It's a really neat card. I don't know how often or how late into the game it actually gets to where the bottom ability becomes a necessity, because usually if you got max speed, you're popping the bottom ability, you're gaining 4. If it really comes down to that, I don't know how often that's actually just going to save you, or the opponent's engine is just going to run you over at that point anyways. Realistically, we're probably sacrificing this much sooner to the Rottenmouth Viper or the Braids ability. I think there's a lot to say about Braids, and a 3 of I think would totally be worth it in here. But guys, I don't know what I'm dropping for the Braids. Number one, I'm probably not changing anything with the build. This is one of those ones, more testing required. Probably put it on the do not craft list, but realistically put everything on the do not craft list for a couple weeks after a new set. We never know where the meta is going to settle, you know what I mean? Bloodghast, we really didn't get held up on the double black. There was that one game where we saw Raceway and Swamp, and we were really sweating for the third mana, right? So that's something to be said. But we eventually found the third. That's fine. And then, funny enough, dude, a lot of opponents are having us discard. So the Bloodghast is going to be a perfect discard to whatever the opponents are doing as well. With so much Esper Pixie, Dimir Bounce. Are there any others, right? But they're all playing like Hopeless Nightmare. I think Hopeless Nightmare as a 4 of. And so just discard your Bloodghast and be very happy about it, I would say. Bloodghast is going to be a great sacrifice to the Gas Guzzler's bottom ability, which unfortunately we didn't get to see today, but I'm still convinced that Gas Guzzler's worth it to start our engines to make sure that once we get the max speed for the Raceway, it's actually just really neat. There's actually not too much in here that gets us to start our engines. Only 12 cards, so you're really hoping to see one of those 12 in your opening hand, since of course you're starting with the 7, so I'd say a pretty good chance to have something in your hand to start your engines. And you're kind of hoping Amonkhet Raceway makes an appearance in most of your games then at that point too. We got the turn 1 Gingerbrute. Man, that was cool with the Amonkhet, right? Grim Bauble could potentially be the card we drop to 1 and go up that other Braids, but again, it's just another permanent to sacrifice to the Rottenmouth. You go up the third Braids too. I mean, it is a legendary creature, but 3 usually doesn't hold you up too often with legendaries, right? It's a tough decision. At that point too, like I said, put it on the do not craft list. But if you're not, if like you're absolutely desperate to make this deck list for some reason, right? And you don't have all the Bloodghast because this is a new card, but you already have 3 Braids, well, there you go. You could do some trading out then. Trading out that way. Like, let's say you pulled 1 Bloodghast from the new set and you don't want to craft anymore. Well, you put the 1 in. You could go up the Braids and go up a couple Nowhere to Run because that's just a uncommon, and usually it's going to hit really well. Something we didn't see today was like the Heartfire hero decks. That's a little weird not to see, right? Am I even thinking correctly? We saw what did we see today? where was Heartfire hero? Yeah, no, Nowhere to Run is going to be excellent against those deck lists. Anything that runs like extra protection, Shard Mage's Rescue, or Sheltered by Ghosts and stuff like that, right? So there you go. You could potentially do some trading out based on your collection, right? There are going to be some issues if you're trying to trade out, though, because I think that if you only have a couple Rottenmouth Vipers, you know, it's mythic, number 1. We really don't see Rottenmouth Viper. It's kind of crazy, dude. You look at this card and you're like, holy cow, man, this has everything. Like, this could really just turn the tides of battle. But what's crazy is how easy it is for the opponent to just get around. It just an insane momentum swing. You know what I mean? Like, it's actually crazy that you play this and they just have so much going on that they still get around like a hasty Viper and still make us sweat, or still just come back for the victory too. So it's one of those things, like, would the extra Vipers be worth the craft? Probably not. Like, in general, would it be worth the craft for this list? Yes, but again, I would not craft this list. Put it on the do not craft list, right? At the risk of sounding like a broken record at that point. There's going to be other fun things that you can try Rottenmouth Viper in anyways, though. So if you had 3 of them, I would just say keep the 3, don't craft the 4th, and maybe find another cool top end that could potentially work in a deck list like this. There's definitely something I missed that wouldn't mind sacrificing our extra permanents and stuff, right? Or maybe that's where the 3rd Braids comes in too. So yeah, just if you're really desperate for this list, make sure you base it off of your collection and save your wild cards, especially for a couple weeks after a new set. Spiteful Hexmage is a rare. I'd say a worthwhile rare in a Rottenmouth Viper build. Yeah, 2 permanents for the price of 1 at 1 mana is no joke. And then there's so many creatures that we can put the Cursed Roll onto and just be completely satisfied. Well, not so many, but we have 1/1s in here, right? All 4 Gingerbrute, all 4 Vengeful Bloodwitch. On the note of the Gingerbrute, it'd kind of be nice if we had something to actually boost the Gingerbrute's power. Double checking here. I don't believe we do. It would be nice to have something boosting the Gingerbrute's power. Like in that last game, that really could have helped out if we did have something getting under their blockers. But if you go up something like that, you're going to have, you know what we played with recently in Mono Black? We played with Fungal Fortitude. Yeah, this needs like a dedicated list. And in that list, we had a bunch of flyers to stack this on top of, and then also some prototype creatures too, right? But, you know, honestly, like a 1 of Fungal Fortitude, that could be a great budget trade-in and maybe boost the Gingerbrute, or maybe protect your Rottenmouth Viper from a go for the throat for the turn, get the ETB again. Dude, I just talked myself into this, man. It's only common. This is a great budget trade-in for any other rares that you might be missing. Maybe, right? Like, if you don't have any Hexmage and you go up 4 Fungal Fortitudes, it's probably not the greatest trade-in, but you guys know what I mean. Neat stuff, man. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the deck list. Do you think it's even worthwhile attempting Mono Black max speed? Are you just upset that I didn't go Rakdos max speed? Let me know in the comments. I'm going to be visiting Rakdos max speed at some point, and potentially some other combinations of max speed as well. Max speed and start your engines in general, it's kind of really neat, isn't it? And it's kind of fun to kind of pull off in the games too. Has like that whole flashy animation going for it as well. Oh, the Vengeful Bloodwitch being an extra way to push through that max speed like we saw in that game, right? We got the 4th on the Bloodwitch ability and then activated Raceway. I don't know if all 4 Bloodwitch are actually worthwhile, but I don't know what else would go in its spot, you know, maybe like a Vran, but Vran is only once each turn. There's going to be moments where you have enough creatures on the board where even if you have multiple Bloodwitch too, the ability totally will stack if you end up sacrificing all of your creatures for a Rottenmouth. There are going to be some games where that matters, so. Okay, guys, enough rambling, huh? Whew, buddy, I guess I had more to say about this than I thought. Well, either way, if you made it this far into the video for real, y'all are champions. I super duper appreciate you. And oh, also, guys, hopefully I played it out well enough. I don't know. It kind of feels like it should be a pretty difficult deck list to play. And I guess the thought processes were a little bit difficult. So yeah, hopefully I played it out well enough for you guys. Let me know in the comments as well if I didn't, or if I did, I suppose, right? And anyways, guys, I will see you in the next video.